lot of the discussion regarding our team is about the future and who we're going to be at some point, and I think some of that was very visible on the floor.
When we talked on Media Day, the tagline, I believe, was going from good to good. Do you think that happened this year?
I think in some ways maybe that did happen. Because really, if you look what we did 2 years ago, we almost went from like a struggling team. We were a struggling team to somewhat almost great in terms of the move that we made. A 26 game swing 2 years ago was epic proportions, historic proportions in the NBA, and knowing that was going to be tough to duplicate, added some things to our roster, added some players to our roster. We made some moves that we thought could keep us competitive, but sometimes in this process there's a learning curve, there's a growth curve, and sometimes like as we did, I think we took 2 major steps forward, and then we took a step backward this year, but sometimes you learn from those and get better from those. And I think that will be the case for us.
John, how much is Giannis's role moving forward? Certainly he's the primary ball handler moving forward. How much does that affect the rest of your moves for the offseason?
I don't think it does an awful lot. Look, one of our biggest weaknesses this season was our inability to shoot the ball. And if you think about what happened to us at the guard position, I think Grievous missing, I think, almost 60 games. O.J. Mayo missing, I think, almost 50 games. Jared Bayless missing almost 30 games. We had all 3 of those guys penciled in. We thought Grievous is going to come in and make 100 threes for us this year. O.J., that's basically what he does most every season, gives you 100 threes. And we thought Jared Bayless would do what he can do, shoot, give you 70 to 80 threes. You add that to this roster this year, that changes our team completely. I don't know who we are, who we're going to be as we're standing here right now with those guys all healthy, but I can tell you it's much different than what we ended up being. So that being said, we missed those guys, and it's evident how much we missed the three-point shooting. We have to get better there. And I think we can do that in this off season, I think, with maybe some player acquisitions. But, we also have to improve from within in that regard. I think that's almost as critical as the players that we're going to acquire, is guys improving from within. So we've got to become a better shooting team. And, I know we got to become a better defensive team, and there's issues that we have to face. But the bottom line in this business, you got to be able to score the ball too. And where the game is today, is as much as the game is being stretched, and the 3-ball and the factor that is in winning games, we've got to get better at that.
John,
that's obvious.
John, how careful do you have to be in selecting those free agents? I mean, that's, here a couple of your older guys, I don't want to say older, but Mayo is getting older. I mean, they were injury prone. Do you have to be really careful about who you're going to bring in here, because you don't want that to happen again?
Yeah, it's pretty hard when you say that's how young we are, when I think OJ's 28 and he's one of our older guys.
Old, but
yeah.
I mean, in this league he is.
Tells you something about our team. He's not. He's not. You look. I looked the other night. I saw. I think it was the Miami-Detroit score from 2 nights ago. And I was watching ESPN on the scroll, and they had the 3 leading scorers for Miami that night. Was Joe Johnson, I think he had 25 points. I think Luol Deng had 17 points. I think Wade had 14 points. Yeah. And continued to kind of do what I was doing, and I started thinking about that. Probably I don't know, but maybe the average age for those 3 guys together is 33 years old. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, you win with veteran experience. And we understand that we don't have that today. And we understand we may not have all that next year. This is still the process. And the process is letting these young guys grow. And in particular, Giannis and Jabari, right, at 21 years old, we have to let those guys mature and let those guys develop as players. And I'm not going to say it's going to take to get 32 years old, but we got to give them a chance to grow, breathe, and give them a few years to kind of continue who they're going to be in this league.
But John, finding those 32-year-olds, John, who really can contribute. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you had guys that couldn't.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a major factor for us. So, look, it'd be great. We want to add some veteran leadership to our team. We want to not only leadership, but guys who can get on the floor and play and help us on both ends of the floor.
John, Jabari said earlier here that sometimes that team identity kind of went up and down, or they didn't quite have that true identity in the leadership and stuff like that. Do you feel like some of those guys now taking their lumps are growing into that a little bit?
Yeah, they are. And it was interesting. It was conversations with a couple of the guys that kind of talked about our team in those terms of like us becoming a more consistent team, a wiser team on the floor, more productive. And I said, look, a part of that is the cross that we have to bear right now, and that is to kind of let these young guys develop, and they're going to be that someday. They're going to be more efficient players. They're going to be, I think, wiser players on the floor, and they're going to become very, very productive. But look, you've got to go through the growing pains. It happens, and you never know how quickly this thing can turn. If you would have told us standing here after winning 15 games that we were going to win 41 games, I think all of us would have said it's basically impossible for us to do that. So, where we go from where we're at today to this next season, I don't know, but it can turn for us. It's part of it is, the fit within your group, the chemistry within your group. And, I still love the old saying. I can't remember who it was. I keep saying, I think it was Al Attles many, many years ago. I think he said this with Golden State, that something, I think he might have been the coach at this time, saying like, chemistry is one of those things you don't know how you found it when you have it, and then you don't know how you lost it when it's gone. It just kind of happens. You don't say, we're going to add this guy and this guy and this guy, and now our chemistry is it's all going to be there. Chemistry happens. It fits within the group, and, hopefully we had that last year. It was a good fit. We missed some of that this year, but it's doable. We can get that back, I think, in the right situation.
It seems like you're very aware of maybe the growing pains that might have occurred this year, and you kind of had a good idea that taking the training wheels off might result in this. Were there any growing pains that you were surprised by that you didn't necessarily think you would see this year?
I don't think so. It's as we started going through this, we didn't expect to be where we're at right now. We thought we had a chance to go back and maybe be a playoff team. It's not as easy as we all think sometimes. I was thinking about the Miami and talking about those three veteran guys, and looked back last year. I was like, man, it's unbelievable. Miami wasn't a playoff team last year. Then I started thinking Oklahoma City wasn't a playoff team last year. And if we think, well, the Milwaukee Bucks, who won 15 games 2 years ago, made it last year, and we're not a playoff team this year. It's not like, it's not like some great abnormal thing is happening. And you got a couple teams, the Chicagos of the world and the Washingtons of the world, who you thought before the season they're locks to be that, and maybe continued teams for a championship. Things happen during the course of a season, to teams that are just trying to get better, trying to grow, to teams that are established teams that you think that the sky's the limit for them, and it's a part of what we go through in sports.
John, your relationship with Coach Kidd, how do you frame it? Apparently there are people that don't think it's good. But
yeah,
what do you say about it?
Look, Jason and I, we just finished our second season together. I think we have a very good working relationship. We communicate together. We talk together. We spend time together. It's a great thing. We have a business relationship, and we have a social relationship. And it's we spend some time together in away from the office in the summers, and it's good. So I enjoy my time with him.
And now, it's kind of a crucial time, I guess, for you guys to work together. During the season, it's a little harder because you might be out scouting and he's coaching. But is this fair to say now is a time where you really be all working together, the scouting staff, Jason, to look at your moves for the summer?
Yeah, like we did last year.
Yeah,
we spent our summers together last year. Look, with what we do, the season ends, but it stays busy. We jump right into the draft, and we start working the draft and stay through that until the end of June, basically, and then we begin free agency and summer league. So you're kind of stuck together in the season. You're stuck together off the season. In the off season. So it's a part of what we do, and we love it.
John, the big three that basically you've been responsible for putting together. How satisfying is it to see these guys grow into potential superstars?
Wow, Tom, that's we're hoping they're going to become that. They're not there yet. Chris probably being obviously the most mature. If you're talking about those three guys, I'm assuming we're talking about Giannis and Jabari and Chris. Chris has, he's 24 years old, so he's 3 years older than those guys. So I think there's a little more maturity to him as a person. There's a little more maturity to his game. And he's got kind of one of those personalities, an easy way about him. Very competitive on the floor, but kind of a natural, mature side to him. Giannis and Jabari, it's just two young guys, trying to figure out who they are and what they're going to be in this league. And, I always say with, Giannis, bless his heart, he's got a lot of things on his plate, and he's got a lot of responsibilities, and he loves it. And he loves being here, and he loves everything that's a part of being here. But I think the strides he made this year, you can see it. You can see who he's going to become, and I think it's just a matter of time. And obviously we feel the same thing about Jabari. You look what Jabari did the second half of this season, from basically All-Star break on. I mean, he put up some pretty impressive numbers and continued to do that. And this is like Jabari's rookie year. And if you took this and said we could get this out of him a year ago, I think we'd all say, hey, look, he's going to be in that running for a rookie of the year and a great future performer in this league.
John, to follow up on Jabari, what does it mean for him to finish the season the way he did, as strong as he did, and to now go into a normal, quote-unquote, off-season and the development of his game?
Yeah, I think it gives him confidence. What happened the second half of the season, I think, gave him some confidence. And, it's funny, just talking to him, talking about, like, little things that he can do to impact winning. And, scoring is going to be natural for him. That's kind of who he is. He has that gift. But, we talked about the little things he can do, and a lot of it are just things of awareness on the floor. The awareness of little things that you can't emulate in the off season on a practice court. You can go through your shooting and your offensive skill set and your footwork and things like that. But the things we talked about for him to become, I think that player that's helping his team win games, that not only he will be a great scorer in this league, but he's going to be a winner in this league. He wants both. So, we talked about, like, just those things of concentration, awareness, studying his game. Talked about, like, that Peyton Manning type attitude of studying who you are and studying to become great. And, Jabari's a good man, and he wants all those things. I think he can accomplish them.
John, I think when Giannis came in, people were shocked that he had played point guard and hadn't played point guard in 3 or 4 years, and then he puts up unbelievable numbers. Can he legitimately average like a double-double? Because the numbers he put up were ridiculous in just the limited amount of point guard experience at the NBA level.
I think he can. It's interesting, this thing with Giannis and the point guard. I keep saying Giannis is our facilitator. We're still, when we announce the starting lineup next year, we're going to announce 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center. And Giannis is going to be announced as a forward. He's a facilitator, but somebody's got to defend that point guard position, and it's not going to be Giannis. So we're always going to have 2 guards on the floor. So, as the facilitator, can he average a double-double? He sure can. I think he can. I think he has the ability to do that. And look, as we become a better team, and we talked about one of the greatest weaknesses of this team this year was our inability to shoot the ball. Assists come a lot easier when you're penetrating and kick, and that guy's knocking down a consistent 3-point shot for you. That helps your numbers and being able to be a double-double player. So, he's I think just a really talented, multifaceted player that I think on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively, they can do a lot of things.
That's big O level if he averages a triple-double.
Triple.
Well, now you said double-double.
You said
triple-double.
double-double. You said
I'm
double-double.
sorry. How about triple-double? I apologize.
He's going for the triple.
Triple-double.
Well,
Triple-double.
once again, look, I think that Giannis is going to be able to score the ball. Another guy, when we start talking about our team of improving from within, we've said it many times before, and we'll say it again. He's got to shoot the ball more consistently. He knows that. It's going to be a point of concentration for him. His ability to go out and get 10 rebounds, I don't want to say take that for granted, but he can do that. That can almost become somewhat natural for him. And then I say, if we have good enough players around him, is the third piece a possibility? I think it can be, but we have to have good enough players around him. And for him to continue to be aware and learn how to be that facilitator.
John, what do you think of Greg's performance? Were you disappointed? He was up and down. He got benched, but he also scored, which is what you wanted when you got him, and he had to adjust a little bit. What's your overall assessment?
Overall with Greg, it's interesting. I can tell you from my seat that this is who he's been all year. We have our 82nd game of the season, and we don't have a shoot around, and I look out yesterday morning and on the floor, and I think there was a couple other younger players that had been in,
Right
but I
here,
look and
right
yeah,
here.
right here on this floor, and I look and see Greg Monroe down there. I think working with Gerg,
Mm-hmm.
and what he is. He's a pro's pro, high quality man, just what we thought he was going to be, and a lot of people are saying, well, Greg and some disappointments in our team, and our team didn't play as well, and so when a team's not playing well, somebody's got well, who can we point a finger at, or who can take this blame? And I think some of it was at Greg, and I think some of it unfairly. I keep saying again, let us be healthy, in particular in our back court. I think that all of a sudden it shifts for everybody. It shifts for the coaches. It shifts for Greg. It shifts for a lot of guys on the roster, and myself included. I think that we could have been a much better team. Having those 3 shooters out for as many games as they had, that was very difficult for us. But overall, I think very pleased with Greg, and he's a high quality, high character guy.
But John, how
Jason-
do you view that center position moving forward, and how much will a full offseason for Greg here benefit him in the adjustment with the team?
Yeah, I think it's going to benefit him, in the center position moving forward. That's something we'll continue to look at, and the one thing with Greg, he's kind of a rarity in this day's game that there aren't many guys that you can throw the ball into in the post and that can give you points. There just aren't a lot of good back to the basket scorers today, and so I think once again, I would say this, kind of the same with Giannis. If you're talking about Giannis being our primary ball handler, or one of our primary ball handlers, that when he's penetrating and kicking to guys that are more effective shooting the ball, it's going to make him a better player. And the same thing's true of Greg. The more space he can get. I mean, look, people guarded us this year. They walked off us, and they dared us to shoot the ball. Well, if they're walking off us, that means they're walking into the post on him too. So it was very crowded for him. So I think overall, if we can space the floor more efficiently, it's going to make him a better player, and will help him.
Throughout this season, Jason has mentioned that he doesn't particularly like playing 2 big lineups, and you kind of have 3 centers if you bring back Plumlee with Plumlee, Henson, and Rowe. Does that, I guess, go into your decision-making process at all to not necessarily put 3 centers on the team when Jason may only want to play 2?
No, I think every team, almost every single team, has a third center on their roster. Maybe just not to the significance that we have, because of, I know what you're saying, between with Greg and John Henson and Miles. But I agree. I think that was not, our team wasn't made to do that. The problem with that is that none of those 3 guys can step on the floor and make a perimeter shot. So I think they all need the space inside around the basket. They need to be closer to the basket on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. So, I think though we can find a way to make that fit long term. And our hope is, we want to have Miles back next year.
I was
That's our
going to
hope,
ask
yeah.
that. Miles seemed real upbeat today about wanting to come back.
Yeah, it seems like another guy. Miles is a good man, high character guy. And I think he's a good fit for our team. I think he complements some of the guys in our team, and we would definitely want to have him back.
Kind of a revelation after the break too for him to get the playing time and to really fit in with everybody.
For a lot of guys, but a lot of
Yeah.
times the revelation is the opportunity to get on the floor. You get on the floor, and then you do see your fit. And Miles Plumlee, right? That's what we're just talking about. There he is.
There he is.
Yeah, but no, I think it was a great opportunity for him, and appreciate him so much for what he did for us.
What do you think of some of the young guys? You see O'Brien, you got a decision to make on him. You have Ennis, Inglis, all some guys there that you have to try to make some decisions on this summer. What's your thought process there?
It's a part of the evaluation process. As we look at it, we'll continue to look and explore and make those decisions as the time presents itself.
So if you bring in free agents, is that kind of where you might try to cut on the edges to get a space to bring in some free agents?
Potentially, but we're going to have some roster spots available that we're going to be able to do that with either way.
John,
Once
go ahead.
Sorry. Once MCW gets healthy, what do you need to see from him this offseason and how he fits into the plan moving forward?
It's interesting to me, and Jason and I have had this discussion, but I think Michael is a really good fit for this team, especially on the defensive end of the floor. If we want to become a better defensive team, and we talk about we're going to start somebody at the guard spot, well, defensively, he's a great fit for us. He's 6'6" plus. He rebounds the ball at a great rate defensively at the point guard position, block shots, steals, got the length to defend most anyone, and he's competitive on the defensive end of the floor. We know what it is for him, and he knows what it is for him. Also, it's on the offensive end of the floor, him becoming more comfortable. He just finished his third year in the league, and there's growth there. And I think that Michael's mentality is going to be moving forward is that, like, I just want to help. I want to help this team win games, and let me find a way to fit in, and I can help us win games.
Is his rebounding maybe an underrated part of his game, especially on the defensive end, as you said?
Yeah, I think it is. His rebounding. Think about how many games that he affected games on the defensive end of the floor with a big block shot at the end of a game and in a crunch time and things like that. So when you have a point guard at his size to do the kind of things he does and play with the kind of effort he does defensively, I think that there's always a spot for a guy like that.
He said he wanted to improve his shooting as a whole, of course, and I think Jason even mentioned that the three-point shot is something that he's really trying to horn in on him for developing. Do you guys feel confident that he can develop that three-point shot consistently for next season, or how long do you guys feel that can take to develop for him?
Next season. needs to start happening next season. And look, I think a lot of it is, having this off season to work on it, realizing that it's the three-point shooting. I think it really comes down to the corner three. It's not the wing, it's not the top. That the most efficient shot in the NBA today, in our game today, is a corner three. And a guy like Michael has to get to the point where, especially if he is off the ball sometimes, that when the ball swung around the corner, and if they're going to say, we're in rotation, and he's the last person in that rotation he catches, that he can make that shot. But it needs to happen. And everyone's aware of that, as Giannis is aware of that, and Jabari's aware of that.
Can Milwaukee's favorite native son, Steve Novak, still help with that corner three?
Yeah, look, we'd love to have Steve back. Everything he stands for. He's about everything that's right in sports, and high character guy, local guy, and the fact that he can make a three-point shot sure doesn't hurt.
John, when you stand here, you can feel your passion. People who know the game far better than I know that you're one of the best. I think you've shown it here. Yet the rumors fly around like slop. John's going to leave and go to New Orleans with Joe Dumars. John's not part of the regime. He may not come back. Does it bother you when you hear these things? And do you want to be here? And do you anticipate being here for this rebuild, if you will, to get to be what you want to be?
Yeah, first of all, it doesn't bother you. It's a part of what we do, especially in this day and age. Internet, Twitter, everything else that we live in, and it's a part of sports and it's a part of our business. So, we have to live with it, and whether it be right or wrong, it's a part of what we do. As far as my future, I'm really excited to be here. This has been a great opportunity for me. I appreciate, as of recent in particular, what Mark and Wes and Jamie have done for me. They extended me a year out last year when they didn't have to do that. That meant a lot to me. I appreciate them. I appreciate the opportunity to work for them. And I keep saying this. This is in a position to work. I mean, things are lined up. The fact that we have owners that are committed, the fact that we're going to be moving into a new practice facility, the fact that shortly thereafter we're going to be moving into a new arena. And I keep saying this, that the timing is there, that you look and see as in particular Giannis and Jabari at their ages, and a player like Chris and other young guys on our roster, that those guys are going to develop and just start to become who they're going to become in this league as we're moving into this new arena. I think the timing is perfect for it to be like a very good synergy to occur, and for it to turn into a really positive situation.
You want to be a part of that.
Of course I do.
What does the process of identifying free agents look like for you? There's obviously some defensive struggles this year. Maybe that means some defensive scheme changes. Is that just a conversation that you and Jason have to try to figure out how you find personnel that fits the scheme?
Yeah, I think so. I think that we have some players in our roster though that can do a better job defensively. That can become, as I said, become wiser defensively with more experience. As far as defensive schemes and things like that, that's a coach's responsibility, and always leave that up to them.